Okay, so Graham, what
Mm,
is your
mm.
aha moment?
That's a
And
that's
if
a
you want
good
to
that's a
make
good
something up, it's
question.
great because you did great last week. So,
Yeah, I wish I could feel bad again. I don't know. A few things that I've heard this week that have made sense and have rung around my head. The context determines the content, and I'm not sure what that means for you guys, but what that means for me is that a lot of my work comes from the context of where I am. Like it doesn't matter how much I prepare, although I am very often over prepared for things. The context changes the content. And I think that after you've done something for a period of time, you can expect that to be normal, that you can be prepared for things, but the context um, is never quite what you plan or imagine it to be because things in the moment are different from how we predict that they're going to be. Um, so that's from my work in the classroom. There is next. There's no difference between the big bullshit and the little bullshit. It's all bullshit. So, um, what that means for me is a lot of people think that the little things don't matter so much, but I think the little things are killer sometimes. And whether it's big bullshit or little bullshit, it all gets in the way and is frustrating. So don't ignore the little stuff and think that it's not as important as the big stuff. Sometimes it's the little stuff that um, that makes all the difference. Um, and something that I listened to today, which is that samurais have a daily meditation on death. Now, that might seem a little bit of a little bit abstract. The samurais have a daily meditation on death. Um, I didn't actually realize that there were still samurais. Apparently, there are somewhere. So, and the daily meditation of death is just simply, if I die today, will I be satisfied with what I've done? And this is one of the driving factors in the philosophy and psychology of the samurai. And that's reiterated by many people in many different ways in many places. A lot of motivational speakers bring up that point. Steve Jobs brought that up in his famous university speech, where he said that death is the greatest invention of life. And so that's something that I heard today, which is still in the back of my mind. And I was thinking that if I could add that into sort of a daily meditation, like would I be satisfied with what I've done today and on a daily basis? And so these are my aha moments or the thoughts that have been ringing around my head recently. Any questions or shall we
Oh,
move
and
on?
in regards to that philosophy, like I've heard it a few different ways, and I've heard it not just from samurai, but from other types of warriors. Basically, not meditating on if I die today, did I do enough, but accepting the fact that they're already dead and moving forward with that.
Hmm.
Like I have no fear because I'm already dead. Like I've accepted my death, and now I'm going to go out and do whatever the hell I want to because I'm already dead. It's having those balls basically to just with warriors it would be like we're running into the breach, and then business is taking it to like well yeah let's just go for it, be more aggressive in business and not worry about being too cautious. So I've heard it said a little more aggressively, but the daily meditation I could see with the whole Asian philosophy of reasserting, I guess, what it is that they've accepted. So
Yeah, there's a line from an Iron Maiden song that pops into my head from time to time, which is the minute that you're born, you're
yeah,
dying. Um,
Well, what song is it?
so, it's one of those 80s tracks. I'm pretty sure it's one of those classic metal tracks from the
Not
80s.
Flight of Icarus.
That it doesn't ring around my doesn't ring a bell in my head, but it might be. I don't
That's
know.
fine.
I don't know.
Um,
I might even be wrong. It might be more modern. I was just because there's a Tony Robbins speech where he says basically the same thing, and I was like, oh, Tony Robbins is quoting Iron Maiden. Although
I
he
think
although
flight is
he
universal too. I mean, I'll get that way with travel. Like one of the times we went to Hawaii, we're on the big island, Kona, I think it is. With the active volcano still there, and just walking up to the edge and still seeing that it's bubbling, and it's a massive crater, and you can smell the sulfur for miles before you get there, and it's just like we are so insignificant on this little ball, this huge crater, kind of gives you perspective on things like that. And death is the same way, I think. It's like if people contemplated that, or if people were closer to that, we've steeped it in a lot of antiseptic ritualism and medical, like somebody passes away, that's taken care of now. The family doesn't come and clean the body anymore, or we're not living on farms anymore. We don't, well, except for Johnny, of course. Everything's gotten more antiseptic, so we don't see those changes. I think that people were used to in the past, as far as either getting things done, or like you either got things done or you hid in your cave all day. It's that kind of mindset, I think. So we could talk about that for hours.
Yeah, so I'll just comment on that last part too, and then we can move on. Yeah, I didn't know samurais existed still, and I wonder what the purpose of a samurai is. But still, interesting concept around the death, and I think I think it's interesting because I mean, if you're going to war, you're a samurai. Like me, like I feel like I have so much still to do. That I'm not actually okay with my own death. But I would think maybe if you're a samurai, I mean, your chances of dying are pretty good. Yeah, it's interesting. It's a very interesting topic in meditation. I think I'd like to look more into that. And
Well, yeah.
I think it would improve my life too if I was okay with my death.
Yeah. Because like bodyguards and Secret Service especially, I mean, they're supposed to be trained like they know they will get shot eventually. It's like they don't even think about stepping in front of whoever it is they're protecting. It's like my job is to be the one that gets shot.
Wow,
So
that's
it's
crazy.
like and then yeah, with I think foot soldiers and people like, well, yeah, they want to live, so they're gonna try and survive. So I think it's two separate types of things. Unfortunately, there's a need for both, but luckily we're hopefully all too old to have to deal with that in our lives.
Right, it's Iron Maiden. The song is The Clairvoyant from the album Seventh Son of a Seventh Son. The chorus is, there's a time to live and a time to die, when it's time to meet the Maker. There's a time to live, but isn't it strange that as soon as you're born, you're dying?
Wow.
And that's the chorus.
Dun, dun,
There we go.
dun.
Yeah, cue drums that sound like horses galloping, which is seems like every Iron Maiden song. Right.
I'm not as well versed in literature as I would like to be, but I think that's from a poem or something. We could research that for hours too, probably. You said that the first time.
You might be right that they've lifted it from
Yeah,
somewhere.
it sounds like from a poem somebody referenced in a movie or something I heard once.
A lot of those obscure references and things in the old Maiden new wave of British heavy metal. Roar. Right. Okay, that's way
Yeah.
off topic and a total tangent. Let's slide back into where were we?